Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Yeah, you know what it is. Hard worker, scrappy, unfiltered, and sometimes unhinged football content. Hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. Doing it daily our way. I don't know what you're talking about right now. Redraft and Dynasty Fantasy Football, we got you covered. You know their defense is ranked like 31st in the NFL? NFL draft prospects and rookies? Now you know you in the right place for that.
Absolutely.
All right, then stop saying it. Then we're done. And prop bets with my man Jay Rich.
Count that money, man.
Now wipe the crust out of your eyes, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake your ass up with Ray G. You honestly are making absolutely no sense and you sound silly as hell. Let's get it. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. It's your boy Ray G here, live. Wake up with Ray G, and yes, Jay Rich, you are in the intro. You are in the intro because we were going to start this show off with the bet that you made versus me.
No.
Damn it. You thought it was just going to be me introing the people. We're getting right to it. I'm no good mornings. We ain't getting to no chat. Where's my money at? I want my case of Topo Chico. For those of y'all who missed the show on Friday, we had two bets. Jay doubled down. He told me that not only was Russell Wilson going to outscore Daniel Jones in fantasy, he also said Case Keenum would. Now, the Case Keenum bet has been voided because he did not play. But what happened to your boy Russ? What happened to your boy Russ? And it's time to pay the piper.
Russ did what he could do. He did the best he could do. Jerry Jeudy got hurt. He threw the ball to some guy named Virgin. And it's okay, right? It will be on the way. You live in a small town, so the Uber drivers aren't up yet. But when they get up and they are ready to start working, I know you guys in the small towns don't like to get up too early, but you and I, the real workers out here, the workforce of the content creation community, we are up. We are here for the people.
Are you going to pay the bet? Are you going to pay the bet?
I will pay you. I'm going to see if I can get it delivered to your house first, and if not, I will send you a transfer.
All I know is I only got one more Topo Chico left, so I need that. Good morning, good people. It is Monday, November the 14th, 2022. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with Ray G, and for that, I appreciate y'all being here, man. You know we got to have some fun on the show bright and early. Shout out to the people that pay the bills. Prize Picks, man. Use that promo code WAKEUP for a 100% deposit match up to $100 if you're a first-time user. And y'all know I can't start the morning without that Michelle Adoro coffee. You got to get some of that, 15% off. Use the promo code WAKEUP. Dope coffee, holiday season. Get you some of that good stuff. Let me tell you, I ran out and I had to go to Walmart and got that off-brand, that old donut shop coffee. It does not hit like that Michelle Adoro. You got to get some of that. Use that promo code WAKEUP. Get 15% off, baby. But who we got in the building? Good morning to David in the building. What's up, David? Jacksonville fan right there, man. Rough weekend for them. Dynasty Barry, good morning to you. Brock, Jeff Saturday. We will talk about old Jeff Saturday. Turbo 300, Dolphins offense is amazing and fun to watch. Big Shy. Matt Bruning, good morning, Matt Bruning. Drake May, QB1. Drake May, QB1 in 2024. I'm just going to say this. I don't know how, I get that he's a young quarterback. Quinn Ewers, I'm having a hard time, Matt. I'm having a hard time with old Quinn Ewers from Texas. I'm having a hard time. You're gonna have to get me there, Matt, because I'm not all the way sold on him, big dog. Who we got in the building? Big Shy, Chris in the building, Marlon, Pello. I already said Dynasty Barry, David, Leo, Mike Anderson. Mike, did you watch some NBA last night? Did you watch the NBA last night, Mike? I know you're dying for NBA content. What's going on, Lindsey Mack? South Harmon in the building. Make sure you tap in to Adam and Mike. Make sure you tap into Eugene and Ike and Off the Line Fantasy Football, Jeff Mueller's Injury Podcast, Troy and LQ, Eric Vanek, Scott Connor, Destination Dynasty Today. Man, the team is doing great things over here at DDJ. I will properly bring you into the show. Now, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I've been better. You did win our bet, so I got to pay up. And that's fair.
And you got to stop shitting on Daniel Jones. Jay is in our group chat in the Discord. Oh, Daniel Jones didn't play that well. Not that good of a day. QB9, right? Is he not QB9 on the week?
QB 13,
QB
behind
13.
Kenny Pickett, behind Marcus Mariota, only completed 13 passes. Some busted plays over there from the old Houston Texans. Can always count on them to have bad defensive play. So it is what it is. Matt Ryan, QB4 on the week, right? What's up with that? But yeah, I'm having a good day outside of the bet being lost. And obviously, the Minnesota Viking threads are back out because they won the game of the year.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Hell yeah,
We
they did.
got a lot to get into. Some people said they didn't really pay attention to football yesterday. They were out, had other things to do. So we got to get into it. But there's a lot of injury news to get to, Jay. So before we, I guess we just need to get to it, man. Are you ready for your straight? Are you ready? Are you ready, Jordan?
I'm ready for the CVS.
The biggest news in the world of sports. Covered and brought to you by one man, Jordan Richards. This is Straight Facts, presented by Michele Adoro.
All right, everybody. So there is a CVS receipt worth of things to talk about in terms of injury, but let's get right into it, talking with Cooper Kupp, who very much likely has a high ankle sprain that he suffered versus the Arizona Cardinals yesterday. They said the worst case scenario was avoided, which I assume is a season-ending injury. But in my opinion, if he has a high ankle sprain, why on God's green earth would he come back and play for this abysmal Rams team? I understand Matthew Stafford might grind it out the rest of the season, but Cooper Kupp, everything he's done for that franchise, in my opinion, they should sit him. But if he does come back, at least that will be good for your fantasy rosters, but I would expect to miss him for the next 3 to 5 weeks potentially. Hasn't been diagnosed yet, but the mechanism certainly was not good and did look like a high ankle sprain. We know the high ankle sprains will be limiting even when receivers or running backs do come back. That ability to cut is affected, so we'll see what Cooper Kupp's effectiveness is, especially when you consider the fact that offense is already bad. I'm not so optimistic on Kupp rest of the season, and if he does come back, he will probably be limited, but we will wait for the official diagnosis. For all we know, Cooper Kupp has that warrior blood, and he'll be back next week, but let's wait to see on that. On the other side of that game, Zach Ertz suffered a knee injury that is supposed to be multiple weeks. Looked like an ACL tear, but apparently it's not an ACL tear. This will be a theme going on throughout this entire segment, but we'll see what happens with his. We're waiting for the diagnosis on that. Ray, there is a big part here where ACLs actually are easy to diagnose. There's a pretty simple test that you can do. So if they're saying it's not an ACL, chances are it's probably not, but it could be an MCL, could be an LCL, PCL, all these various knee ligaments that they can't test for as easily. So we'll have to wait for the MRI to confirm that, but it is supposed to be multiple weeks, and he was carted off the field. Now, Gerald Everett left in the second quarter last night with a groin injury. We aren't sure the severity on that quite yet, so we'll have to wait and see. But for a team that is completely devoid of weapons at this point, I'm not sure what they're going to do out there. DeAndre Carter is balling his ass off, and Josh Palmer is doing his best, but they need to get somebody in there for the Chargers because they are competitive, but they are not winning games despite having virtually nobody to throw the ball to for Herbert. But we'll see what happens with Everett, but they definitely need him back. Trey McKitty will be the obvious beneficiary there if Gerald Everett is out an extended period of time. Jerry Jeudy left in the first quarter. He did not have an Achilles injury, but it sure as hell looked like an Achilles injury. So we're waiting to see the diagnosis on that. It would be something to do with his ankle. He grabbed the back of his ankle, limped off the field. So we're waiting for diagnosis there. Hopefully it's not too long, but Jeudy has had some ankle injuries in the past. So hopefully it's not too bad, but we will get the diagnosis on that one. Dolphins edge, Emmanuel Ogbah tore his tricep and will miss the remainder of the season, which is not great for them because they had a great week this week rushing the passer with only 4 and didn't have to blitz as much. So missing Ogbah will definitely be felt. Khalil Herbert is dealing with a hip injury. We haven't heard about that one really at all. I was doing some research this morning trying to find out what the extent of that injury was. If he misses, obviously David Montgomery looks great for fantasy going forward. He'll be the primary ball carrier, even though that's kind of Justin Fields right now. We will get into Justin Fields. But Herbert dealing with that hip injury is definitely not great. Juju Smith-Schuster took a very hard hit over the middle of the field. He is going to be in the Tua concussion protocol this week. Honestly, Ray, I don't know if we should even expect him to play because of how bad that hit looked. So in my opinion, there's no guarantee he plays. I think you should be looking to make other arrangements just in case. They do play the Chargers. I believe that was flexed into Sunday Night Football. So big game, but based off how he looks, I'm sure they're going to be very strict with what they do with Juju. And Leo said it in the chat, Tony's season very well could be this week against the Chargers and their pass defense. Then Leonard Fournette left the Sunday's game with a hip pointer injury. Those are typically 1 to 3 week injuries, but that's more for the common folk. And on top of that, the Bucs are on bye this week, so there is additional time for him to heal up. But if he does not play, Rachaad White, who had 22 carries on Sunday morning, would be a full goal against the Browns defense that got gashed this week by the Miami Dolphins. So we'll see what happens with Leonard Fournette, but it could be Rachaad White's season up against a very bad defense in the Cleveland Browns. And Jeff Saturday, or as someone said in the chat, Jeff Sunday got his first win as head coach for the Colts over the abysmal Las Vegas Raiders. He started Matt Ryan. He made the right decision. Thank God. Sam Ehlinger, take your ass to the bench where you belong. Matt Ryan, like I mentioned, QB4 on the week. And Jonathan Taylor had himself a good game as well, but I'm sure we'll get into that. Ray, is there anything I missed or anything you want to touch on before we get into the top 10 takeaways of the week?
I mean, just injuries galore. I mean, it's just everybody got hurt. I mean, shit. You're just trying to get out of Sunday. It seems like that's every week. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, a lot of injuries. Hopefully everybody's okay. Hopefully Judy avoided the Achilles. You were talking about a simple test for the ACL. It's a very simple test for the Achilles as well. You just lay flat, put your leg up, they squeeze your calf. If your foot moves, then your Achilles is intact. If it doesn't, which I have firsthand experience, they squeeze your calf and your foot just dangles there. That means you tore your Achilles. So hopefully that's not the case for Judy. Hopefully the hip is just old man pains for Leonard Fournette, old man Lenny's hip hurting. And yeah, Jeff Saturday, man, I don't know if you saw all the discourse leading into Sunday over that appointment of Jeff Saturday as the head coach, but everybody thought it was just an egregious move to put him as a head coach with no experience. They said it was disrespectful to the game. Shout out to Saturday who got a dub. The Raiders are awful. And if they were picking today, I believe they'd have like the number 2 or number 3 overall pick in the NFL draft, which...
Yeah, number 2. Right above Houston.
Wow. Bro, if that was on the bingo card to start the season, would you have even bought that? With Adams, with Waller, with Renfro, with Mr. 5,000-yard passer himself and the genius of Josh. Number 2 overall. I don't even know. I don't know where to start today, man. I guess the start for me is in Dallas, man. I am just over.
Come on.
I'm over this team, Jay. I'm so tired, man. I'm tired of being tired. What a meltdown by Dallas. Dak and CD could not get on the same page early. Dak throwing picks, CD running the wrong routes. Micah Parsons I don't know where he's at. They got him playing off-ball linebacker. What are we doing? What are we doing, Dallas? Christian Watson running downfield, wide asshole open, can't stop the run. Jalen Tolbert, what are you doing? He is literally on the defensive side of the ball at receiver, gets a damn off. What are you, this is the Cowboys, man. This is Mike McCarthy. This is Dallas. I really don't know what to say. I mean, CeeDee Lamb had a monster day. Probably should have been wide receiver baller of the week, 11 for 150, 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard did his thing. Yep. I have no words, man. I mean, the wife saw me last night, Jay. I'm at the kitchen counter, slumped over, just looking at the phone. I am sick. This team, I don't get it, man. Big takeaway is Mike McCarthy ain't it, man. Mike McCarthy ain't it. He needs to go. Aaron Rodgers front running. He's happy now that he finally got a win. Yep. Just Dallas can't beat Green Bay. We can't beat Green Bay. Dez Bryant caught it, didn't catch it. DeMarco Murray fumbling. The damn tight end catching the ball. Jared Cook on the. We just can't beat Green Bay. Cannot do it, man. I have nothing here, Jay. I have nothing. I literally have nothing, man. I have nothing. I don't even want to talk about this.
I mean, Ray, there's not much to say, honestly. I think the defense kind of let them down in this one to some degree. They've been hanging their hat on their defense, and somehow, some way, all of a sudden, A.J. Dillon becomes effective against the Cowboys? In what world did anyone see that happening, right? Christian Watson obviously getting loose for 3 touchdowns, only 4 receptions, 26.8 a reception. Obviously, that long of 58 on 8 targets. It's hard to explain, man. It was a get-right game, I guess, for the Packers that no one saw coming. But, I mean, the biggest thing here is, Mike McCarthy coming back. He said, I would be lying to you if it didn't hurt. I didn't want to, get after the Packers just to lose the game and blow it in the final stages. They allowed 14 unanswered, 21 unanswered, 17 unanswered if you count the field goal in overtime. Didn't go for the field goal in overtime, which, of course, he's going to be heavily scrutinized for. But, I think Dak, he redeemed himself after a pretty poor first quarter.
Dak didn't play bad, man. I mean,
early he was shaky, right? But then he redeemed himself kind of towards the end.
Both interceptions, it was miscommunication between CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz on the first one in the end zone. Schultz was supposed to clear out high, CeeDee Lamb go underneath low. They both ran the same damn route. Pass was picked off. The second one across the middle of the field, CeeDee was supposed to break the route off. He carried it up the field. another pick. I don't even mind them going for it and bypassing the field goal. I don't even mind that as much. Like it was just a play calling, man. Like before that, offsides by Jalen Tolbert and just holding calls, offsides, just an undisciplined football team. The big takeaway here, CeeDee Lamb, beast. Aaron Jones got it going, 138 yards, 1 touchdown. We talked about it. A.J. Dillon finally got to rumbling, right? He had 65 yards on the ground as well. Aaron Rodgers didn't have a huge day through the air. Majority of all his work came to Christian Watson. All of his touchdowns did. And then Tony Pollard, another 100-yard day and a touchdown for Tony Pollard. Dalton Schultz back to being the tight end one that he is known to be. This Dallas team just needs another they need another weapon, man. They need somebody else outside. Gallup is still hobbled from whatever injury ailments that he had. Jalen Tolbert, just a waste of a third-round pick. Just awful. Shout out to the Packers, though. They got the job done in that one, Jay. But my next takeaway, man, probably so far game of the year, no doubt about it. The Minnesota Vikings going into Buffalo and getting a dub in overtime versus the Bills. Josh Allen legitimately fumbling the bag away in that one late. And that one just had an eerie feel about it the whole time. You know, as it's always easy to go back and play revisionist history should they have taken the safety and play defense. But I mean, that's a routine, just snap and then get it up there. But for those of you who missed the incredible comeback efforts from the Minnesota Vikings, we'll just start with let's start with the wide receiver baller of the week, Jay, and just talk about him. Justin effing Jefferson, 10 for 193 and a touchdown, and arguably not only the catch of the year, Jay, but some people are saying, was this the greatest catch of all time? Now, mind you, this catch happened on 4th and 18. 4th and 18. I still don't know how he caught this pass. Where does this rank with the OBJ catch, which most people consider the best catch of all time?
Man, it's hard for me to dispute the fact that it's the greatest catch of all time. Like, I think it's wild to think that George Pickens really had a greatest catch of all time candidate when this happened in the same calendar year. Like, I understand OBJ's catch was incredible. He was being pulled down, which is nuts. And I think that's where this has the merit to compete with it. He literally snatched the ball away from a player who had 2 hands on it with 1 hand the entire time. And like you mentioned, the situation being 4th and 18 is just ridiculous. This will probably go down as his greatest catch of all time. It could easily go down as the greatest catch of all time. It wasn't in the playoffs, which kind of adds to that moment. But now that it's OBJ's, I think there's a very good case. And in my opinion, it's probably the greatest catch I've ever seen. It's simply phenomenal what he did. The moment, all of it in the game, like, insane.
I still think OBJ's was better, man. I think out of sight, out of mind. But when OBJ made that catch, it was like we had never seen anything quite like that, right? Touchdown grab, Brandon Carr dragging him down, full extension. I think the stakes with this one, because of the moment, the team, like the feel of the game, it felt bigger, but I still think OBJ has it. I still think OBJ has if we're going greatest catch, and I don't even want to say of all time because shit, I'm 36. I haven't seen every great catch that's ever been made. I saw somebody, I think Mike talked about Donovan McNabb to, was it Freddie Mitchell on a 4th and 26 play? I don't even remember that one, but this is definitely up there, and the stakes couldn't get any higher. Kirk Cousins just literally said, fuck it, Justin Jefferson's down there somewhere, throw it to him. And Cousins late was just money, dude. There was one that he put on Jefferson down close to get them in position to score where Dalvin Cook dropped a pass. But this game was just crazy, man. There's so many different storylines. Cousins, 357, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Dalvin Cook had over 100 yards rushing and a touchdown. Broke one off for 81 yards. Hit 21.6 miles per hour on that run. Old man Cook still getting it done. Diggs went off, 12 for 128. Josh Allen, 6 for 84, 330 passing. I mean, this was an incredible game, man. This was a dope game. And then, it looks like the Bills won. They stopped them on 4th and goal at the 1-inch line. They get the ball back, fumble, the Vikings drop. This was just, and then Josh Allen, another interception. My question is, man, like, Allen can't be front runner for MVP right now. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way Allen is the front runner for MVP. And I ask you, Jay, right now, I believe Buffalo in the AFC East is third in their division. I think they're ranked lower than, I believe if you look at the standings, I think they're third in the AFC East right now. Let's take a look. Yep, the Dolphins, 2-1 in the division. The Jets 2-1 in the division. The Bills 0-2 in the division and 6-3 overall. Yeah, the Jets, they apparently are ahead of them right now, with New England right there at 5-4. Best division in football right now, the AFC East. What were your big takeaways from this game? Because this is the one everybody was tapped into.
It's hard to have a ton outside of just like, I think the biggest thing for me was we were waiting for that, or people were waiting for that quality win from the Vikings, right? Well, they got it. And there's still the excuse of, well, Josh Allen wasn't 100%. Well, he sure looked 100%, 330 and a touchdown. Like, he was running the ball very effectively, 6 for 84. He did everything he could to help them win that game. Obviously, the picks late were tough. The first one to Peterson in the end zone wasn't that bad. It was 4th down anyways. But, you know, the last one obviously was a bad throw, and he admitted that. And I think it sucks, man, for Allen, because we expect such high things from him every week. And it's the biggest thing is that he's just expected to do so much. So if his elbow is actually damaged, like, the dude did everything he could to win that game. So I do want to give him credit for that. Yeah. I think they abandoned the run a little bit too early, but again, you know, the biggest thing for them is that they really did blow a big lead, right? They were up like 30-17 at one point, and then all of a sudden Minnesota started coming back, and in overtime they had some kind of questionable calls and stuff like that. But, you know, there was the Gabe Davis catch that wasn't really a catch, so that kind of got them to overtime. But the biggest thing for the Bills is now, Ray, did you see they're in 7th place in the AFC now? They went from first all the way to 7th place with this loss. So now not only are they reeling in some ways in terms of where they're at in the playoff race, but those lack of divisional wins, knowing that if Josh Allen is potentially banged up, they added another loss to that resume. Like, everyone said, oh, Case Keenum should be fine. He's going to get them a win versus the Vikings if he's that guy and is good enough running that offense. Now, all of a sudden, they're staring down the barrel of a much tougher schedule, more divisional games on the way, and potentially, you know, a tough road through the playoffs if they are a wild card team. So it's going to be tough sledding, I think, for them, especially if Josh Allen isn't 100%. That's my biggest takeaway. And, of course, the Vikings, not going to get any respect, but still number 2 in the NFC and clear 2nd seed. It's not even going to be close.
Clear. I mean, running away with that division. Their only loss to Philadelphia. They're 8-1. I talk about them every week. I'll be on Bleacher Report today at 11 Eastern, and going to talk about Minnesota. I have them right now. It's the number 3 team in the NFL, man, behind the Eagles and behind the Kansas City Chiefs. Which let's just get into Kansas City as they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it was actually. Jacksonville kept it. They kept it within range against the Chiefs. But Jay, for me, my NFL frontrunner for MVP is Patrick Mahomes right now. 331, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception at 39 yards on the ground as the Chiefs won 27-17. Travis Kelce did Travis Kelce things. We talked about Juju Smith-Schuster in the unfortunate injury for him. So hopefully everything gets okay. But the emergence of Kadarius Toney, who. I told you there was nothing wrong with that hammy. It just him in New York, the marriage just didn't work out. But Toney got involved in the action, 4 for 57, scored a touchdown. Probably no Juju upcoming for them. How do you think that he can get involved in this offense moving forward? Isaiah Pacheco did lead the team in carries. He was the primary running back, even with an early fumble. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, no carries and only 2 targets in this one. I believe he played 6% of snaps. So seems like the CEH experience or experiment is over. Talk to me about Toney. Talk to me about Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs really quickly.
So let's start with Toney. And I think, you know, we talked about this a little bit when they first got him, and what they were missing was that kind of dynamic playmaker in the short area. That's what Tyreek Hill did a lot last year. And I think that Toney can kind of fill that void very well. Now, it'll be interesting how they choose to run this offense if Juju can't go, because Juju has been getting those tough yards on 3rd downs and kind of in the intermediate area, while MVS obviously is still stretching the field deep. So I'm curious if they feel confident in Sky Moore to really run that role, and then Toney can continue to excel in his gadgety type of role. Talking about Mahomes, I mean, not much else to say. I was on this program disparaging Mahomes all offseason. Can he still do it with these weapons without Tyreek Hill and only Travis Kelce? He clearly can. I was obviously wrong. And I think the question remains, Ray, is that should Patrick Mahomes be QB1 in Dynasty? Because I still in some ways think it's Josh Allen because of how much more he offers you on the ground and still how prolific his team is. But Patrick Mahomes is making a case. Like, he's over Justin Herbert. He's over Joe Burrow. Is he over Josh Allen, right? About
would
CEH,
you take him over Josh? You're in a startup right now. You've got your choice of anybody. You're at the one-on-one spot. You got to call it right now, Mahomes or Allen.
I think I'm still taking Allen. I think I just love what Josh Allen brings to the table. Obviously, Mahomes, same deal, but what Josh Allen continues to do for that offense. And the thing with Mahomes is that now it seems like the running game is going to start to get going, hopefully.
Yeah.
But he's been throwing the ball a ton of passing touchdowns, just ridiculous stats from Mahomes all season long. He's really doing what Allen does almost every week for the Bills, right? Which is insane. But yeah, getting into CEH, I believe he only played 4 snaps, like you mentioned, 6%. He was behind Jerick McKinnon. He was behind Pacheco, obviously. Pacheco, 16 carries, 82 yards. All done. And this week, Ray, I talked about this in the Heisman chat. This week, Pacheco plays the Chargers, one of the worst run defenses in the league. I believe they're averaging like 6 yards a carry allowed. So a big opportunity for Pacheco to really show that he deserves to have that feature role. And he did play very well against the Jaguars. Outside of that, though, I'm not sure what to make of the situation with Kansas City. Every week is different. Every game plan is different. And I think on the Jaguar side, they played well. They could have got blown up pretty quickly in that one, but they decided to bunker down. And Christian Kirk obviously had a massive game, 9 for 105 and 2 touchdowns. We talked about it. The Chiefs aren't great against the slot, so he definitely took advantage of that matchup.
I'll say T-Law played well too, man. And here's one thing I want to caution everybody on is being patient with these young quarterbacks. I know we live in a what have you done for me lately world where we want immediate production. We want these guys to come out there and smash, but we bailed on Tua early. People didn't want anything to do with him, right? And look at Tua now. Tua's playing like an MVP. People were out on Justin Fields, right? And maybe some people were out on the situation. And I'll say it again, put up the Thanos thing. Fuck it, I'll do it myself, right? And Justin Fields is doing just that. We'll get into him, but all these young cats, T-Law is still making, there was a throw that he made, I believe, to Marvin Jones, where I'm just like, wow, what a freaking dime by Trevor Lawrence, So let's him, Kenny Pickett, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, just give them some time, right? Let's give them some time. It's okay to react to what the hell is happening right now, right? Like Chase Claypool, nothing from the you still look at the Bears and you're like, what are you doing? If it's not Cole Kmet, it's literally Justin Fields having to scramble his ass off and do it all for himself. But, Trevor Lawrence looked good, man. He took 5 sacks. Kansas City was on his ass early. He couldn't do anything. But just there were throws that he made where you're like, yo, that's a big-time throw by a second-year player. A lot of people already bailing on Kenny Pickett. I don't know if Kenny Pickett's going to be good or bad, Jay. I have no clue. But when you look at Pittsburgh, I can definitively say he's not their biggest issue. He is not the sole reason why they are just done. I look at Davis Mills and I'm like, no, thank you. But you look at Pittsburgh and you're like, it's not Kenny Pickett's. He's not the reason why they're not winning games or they actually won the game. But you know what I'm saying? It's not all him. Is what I'm saying. So I thought Trevor played all right, man. But let's go ahead and get into the QB baller of the week. And it's a good run it right back. Justin effing Fields, 12 for 20 from the passing department, but he had 314 total yards, 13 carries, 147 yards on the ground. You would figure at some point the defenses would be like, hey, we're not going to let this guy run. But nope, 11.3 per carry, longest 67, 2 touchdowns on the ground. And then through the air, he had 2 more touchdowns, 167 yards, took 3 sacks, did throw an awful interception. But Justin Fields, man, talk about it. Where we at with Fields, Jay?
Man, old Justin Fields. Another 40-point week from the QB1. Just love to see it, Ray. Unfortunate, though, because he didn't get the win, so I don't want to give him too much credit.
Took an L.
Yeah, they took an L, right? And part of it was due to that interception, and the defense didn't play that great. But, we'll see. I think the bigger thing for Fields is that he's stacking good games together, right? He's, I believe, over 60% in his last 3 games. Obviously been phenomenal running the ball. Wish he could do a little bit more in the passing game. But if you're going to get, around 150 on 20 attempts, that big play to Kmet was huge. That was just great play calling, right? It wasn't anything much more than scheme. Obviously, Fields have to make the throw, Kmet to make the catch. But outside of that, the offense looked good. And I think that's the biggest takeaway here is that without the offensive line,
I don't know if the offense
you don't think the offense
looked
looked
good. No, I don't believe the offense looked good. The offense was pretty bad. Justin Fields was just awesome. I mean, he's the difference maker. I mean, offensively, their leading receiver, Cole Kmet. Shout out to Cody Carpentier, player profiler, my boy Cody. He pumped up Cole Kmet to the high heavens this offseason, and it started off slow. But Cole Kmet is turning into a legitimate tight end one, and seems like as long as those two stay together, they're scheming Kmet open. Justin Fields is looking his way. He led the team with 7 targets for Cole Kmet. So if you were able to buy low on some Kmet in this crazy tight end landscape that is the NFL, you're probably in a good boat with Cole Kmet. Another 2 touchdowns. We might as well pull him up because he was the tight end baller of the week. Again, Cole Kmet. I mean, he's outproducing everyone's favorite tight end, Kyle Pitts. Like, I'm not going to say I'd take Kmet over Pitts in a startup, but listen, man, at the cost of acquisition, Kmet was being drafted as what? A mid-range tight end 2 this offseason, and now, back-to-back weeks, listen, this is a pairing that I would want. If you have Fields, I don't want fucking Claypool, I'll tell you that. I mean, Mooney, sure. Who else do you want? Like, you want Cole Kmet as in that passing. You want Fields and you want Kmet. Are there any other Bears you don't feel confident starting Khalil Herbert? You don't feel confident starting the plotter that is David Montgomery. If you look at this team, it's literally Fields strapping them on his back with Cole Kmet and saying, let's go get it. Now, it's not materializing into wins, but 2 very good performances from these 2 young players, and I'm excited to see the future of these guys. If Chicago can please build around them, like go draft a receiver, go get Johnston, go get Addison, go get anybody, go get JSN, anybody. Give him another competent weapon outside of Chase Claypool. Yuck. On the other side of the ball, Jamal Williams continued to plod his way to 2 touches and a touchdown, 3.7 a touch. DeAndre Swift, 6 carries, 6 yards. He scored.
Scored, though.
But, yeah, Brock Wright scored a touchdown, 1 for 2. The battle between Brock Wright and James Mitchell continues. The answer is neither. Jared Goff, a Goff-like performance. It just... outside of Fields, there wasn't, and Amon-Ra balled out 10 for 117, I think Amon-Ra had. But outside of that, I don't know what else we need to talk about from this game, Jay.
Nothing really. You kind of hit on it, right? I think the thing to take away with this game more than anything is that maybe Fields shouldn't always do it himself, right? Like, I think they do need to kind of lean on the actual running backs a little bit more. I understand doing the design runs for Fields, and he was running on his own a little bit too back there, but it's clear that he can do it himself, but it's not necessarily leading to win. So I'm curious if they kind of change the offense a little bit. To your point about Chase Claypool, again, 2nd week in the offense, how much is he really going to be involved? They tried to get him the ball a little bit, but we'll see if that materializes this season. Next season, and hopefully beyond, they keep the build around him. But
Alex stirring the pot. He said, have the same energy for Swift as Gibson. Until they get a competent coaching, judgments need to be reserved.
Why? We don't. Why are you expecting anything from Swift anyways? They already said he's not going to be that involved in the offense. They said they're going to limit his touches. You can't possibly.
Was that because of injury or is that performance?
Yeah. No, it's injury. They keep saying that he's not ready. And Dan Campbell said that last week. They said he's not all the way back yet. He's not fully healthy. So they're going to continue to limit his touches. So if he's being limited, and we know that, then obviously he's not going to have a peak performance. And he was still pretty good. Like, he wasn't great.
We got,
and you don't necessarily want
we
to
got
start
one
him.
of these in the building. I love when we get the watch the games. Our receive. Please watch the games before acting like he wants to do it himself. Lions shut down our wide receivers, and man, what fucking receivers do you have? Like, legit, who? Claypool, Darnell Mooney? You think those are viable options to get out there and just get it done? Equinemius St. Brown, Dante Pettis, Byron Pringle, get out of here, man. Get out of here. He has to do it himself. The Lions defense is one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and you're talking about they shut down the receivers? That's an indictment against your wide receiver room. Yes, Justin Fields had to do it all himself. He has to do it all himself. What are we talking about, man? Watch the games. What the hell do you think we do on Sundays? Sit down and play with our fucking dicks, man? What we got next, man?
Whoa!
What we got next, man? Oh,
Where
watch
should we
the
go
games. Got to watch those games. Y'all don't watch the games. My team, we got to watch the games. Get out of here, man. What's next? Who's on the docket, Doc?
Can we please go? Oh, wait. Let me check the show sheet first before I miss anything.
There's nothing on there. There's nothing in there's nothing in the show sheet.
You
We
said
didn't
check
watch
the
the
docket
games.
like there
We
was
didn't
anything
watch the
on there.
games. There's nothing in the show sheet. Let's go to the Giants and talk about Saquon Barkley.
Oh, no.
Let's go to the Giants. Daniel Jones, back at him, baby. Danny Dimes, 13 for 17. Nice, efficient job. QBR of 83, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles. But the big takeaway, Jay, Big Dog is back. Big Dog is back. Dude, stop it, Jay. Stop.
This was expected, Ray. This was expected. He did not do what Derrick Henry did versus these Texans.
He did not do what Henry did,
expected.
but man, Saquon Barkley, 35 carries. What are we doing? Dayball.
Insane.
Dayball, you got to keep him healthy, baby. Keep him healthy. But 152, 1 touchdown for Saquon Barkley. He didn't do anything in the receiving game. 1 for 8. Darius Slayton led the way with 3 for 95 and a touchdown. Saquon Barkley, man, he's just good. You just watch him play, you're like, this dude is he's just good. He's so good, man. He's so good. Are the Giants going to pay him?
Well, Ray, what's interesting, and I found this hilarious. Did you see he shut off contract talks prior to this game? He's facing one of the worst defenses in the league.
Yeah.
It's like, these contract talks? Yeah, I'm dead in those, right? They give him 35 carries. He goes for 152, which every running back in the history of football this season has done versus the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
He had a massive
Fire
game,
up your
ton
running
of
backs
carries.
versus the Texans.
And the biggest thing for me, right, that was the most – so here's my problem. He is doing it kind of in spite of that offensive line because it was shaky early. He was like 7 for 12 early in the game. I wasn't sure if he was going to hit his over of 93 yards. He obviously got it done, but only 4.3 a carry, like you mentioned, on those 35 carries. Some of them were really some grinded out carries from Saquon Barkley. Do they pay him? I don't know, but he's certainly getting that Le'Veon Bell treatment this season where it's just, we might pay you, but we're going to run you into the damn ground before the end of this season. So good for us if you own Saquon Barkley. He is the definition of a bell cow. Positive game script the whole game because the Texans were goddamn terrible again. Dameon Pierce did play well, but Saquon Barkley stole the show in this one, even though the efficiency wasn't quite there. He did have some big plays.
Yeah, he did, man. On the other side of the ball, let's talk a little bit about Dameon Pierce, another 94-yard performance. No touchdowns. He had a longer 44 in that one. Davis Mills looked real bad early, and then he tried to throw their way back into it, but too little, too late. Texans are in the driver's seat for the number 1 overall pick. And let me just throw it out there. We got to filter in a little college every now and then. CJ Stroud or Bryce Young?
Ooh.
CJ Stroud or Bryce Young?
In the Texans offense, I think I would probably take Stroud.
Okay.
I think I probably would take Stroud in Texans offense, but I don't know. I think it's still a toss-up. I don't know if evaluators have an opinion on Stroud versus Young right now.
One of them will be in Houston.
I prefer Bryce Young because
one of them will be in Houston, man. One of them will be in Houston. So Brandon Cooks got his captain stripes taken away. Did you see that? All right, let's move on to another game. We don't need to continue to talk about this one. Let's talk about Tua, man. Tua
Thank
once
God,
again.
Finally.
Oh, what's crazy is if I told you Tua was going to go throw for 285, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks, QBR of 93, yet Tyreek Hill would be under 50 yards, Waddle under 70 yards, no touchdown for Waddle. Would you believe me?
Ain't no way I'd believe you. No way.
Just throwing touchdowns. The Alec Ingold, Trent Sherfield, getting other people involved. He's not going to win it, but should Tua be in the conversation for MVP? He's not going to win it. He's not going to win it.
He is in the conversation for MVP. He is tied with Jalen Hurts at 4-1 right now on DK.
Whoa,
yeah,
wait,
man.
He's
not just in the conversation. He is the conversation.
Whoa. Record scratch. Tua is tied with Jalen Hurts with the second best odds?
Yes, second best odds. Remember, Tua's undefeated on the season. I believe he's thrown 3 touchdowns in 3 straight games.
Wow.
Patrick Mahomes is 1.5 to 1. Jalen Hurts 4 to 1, which I think after this game probably goes up a little bit. And then Tua is 4 to 1 with Josh Allen at 6 to 1. So Tua's actually overtaken Josh Allen now, which overtook him in the division too. So I don't hate it. I don't hate the take.
Wow.
Tua's been balling, man. Balling.
Whew. Wow. That's dope. Good for Tua, man. Good for Tua. And you know what happened again? Yeah, Alex. Hey, Alex, you know we love you. We fired you up, but we love you, baby. Appreciate you watching, man. Long time viewer of the show. He said he deserves to be in the. Hell yeah, he's in it. Apparently, Alex. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know he was tied with Jalen Hurts. But the really cool thing about this is, again, Jay, no sacks. Our big fear for Tua was him getting hit, him taking those sacks, and potentially having another concussion, right? 2 sacks in the last 4 weeks for Tua. That's it. That's it. He's getting the ball out. Mike McDaniels. Shout out to Mike McDaniels. Everybody kind of with that hire. And he's looking like everything that Sean McVay was 2-3 years ago right now. Offensively, you can't stop the run because Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert are fast and they're just good. You got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and apparently you don't even need them to do anything. This is a good offense, man. Now, I'm not going to go there with the defense yet, but offensively, this is a good offense, man. This is a good offense, Jay.
Yeah, so someone asked in the chat about his odds for Coach of the Year. It's insane. He is 5th in Coach of the Year right now. Nick Sirianni's still obviously leading it. Kevin O'Connell, of course, up there. Brian Dable, Robert Saleh, and then Mike McDaniel at 8-1. But you hit on it, Ray. The biggest thing for me is not just the offense and the passing game, but the acquiring of Jeff Wilson, now the RB1 for the Miami Dolphins, 17 carries, 119 yards and a touchdown, and still caught 2 passes for 24 through the air. Jeff Wilson comes into this offense, knows the system, playing with his former coach, balling every single week. I think he's going to be the RB1 going forward for this team.
Oh, yeah.
And we've seen how fruitful that role has been. Mostert still saw the end zone, only 8 carries, 65 yards, but did break a long touchdown. He's been great too. I think both these running backs are going to be great. And on top of that, you still have the running game to a 93.7 QBR out of 100, just balling right now. It's going to be very difficult to stop this offense, and obviously leading the AFC East. Tua definitely deserves to be in the conversation. I think I'm curious to see if they can catch the Chiefs for the number 1 seed. I believe they're a game or 2 behind them.
My bad. I'm getting Josh McDaniels and Mike McDaniel, my black coaching brother, confused here. Oh, Mike McDaniel out there. Sorry, Jay. Yes. Jeff Wilson is the RB1, but Mostert is dope. Mostert is really good.
Very
Mostert
efficient.
is really fast. It's a good offense, man. It's a good offense. Now, they did play against the Browns, and Jacoby Brissett, he's an average quarterback in the NFL. Nick Chubb had a touchdown, but he did have a costly fumble in that game at an inopportune moment. But your boy, Donovan Peoples-Jones, man, just stringing together good performances. We keep talking about when Deshaun Watson gets back. Is it going to be who's going to be the other beneficiary outside of Amari Cooper and David Njoku? Is it going to be David Bell? Is it going to be this player? It's going to be Donovan Peoples-Jones, man. Donovan, DPJ, playing well. I got some good receipts out there on DPJ, so I need that. I need that DPJ explosion to happen. The Dolphins improved to 7-3 and sit atop that AFC East. We had an early morning game from Germany. Tom Brady got the dub versus the Geno Smith-led Seattle Seahawks. Brady was he didn't have to throw a ton. He was very efficient, 22 for 29. A lot of people thought they'd throw it 50-plus times, but they found a ground game, Jay. Leonard Fournette, old man Lenny, before he hurt his hip, he was running hard. He was running real hard. But, man, Rachaad White, 22 for 105. You saw him getting work, man. You saw him ripping off long runs, chunk yards. Finally got an opportunity to really get more involved. All the beat reporters were saying all week that they wanted to get Rachaad White more involved in the offense. We didn't know if that was coach speak or if that was real talk, and apparently it was real talk. Rachaad White looked really good in that one. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin led the way in receiving. Cade Otton took a little bit of a back seat with Cameron Brate being back. I think I saw his route participation go from like 54% to 29%. So Cade Otton, he still had 3 for 35. Caught his 3 targets, probably a next year play as long as Cameron Brate is on the field. And on the other side of the ball, Tyler Lockett scored. DK had some big catches, had 1 called back. I believe Kenneth Walker was shut down. We didn't talk about ETN being shut down, but the KTC's RB1 and 2, ETN and Kenneth Walker, both were ineffective in their matchups. Walker 10 for 17, could not get it going on the ground, but he did kind of save your day through the air with 6 for 55. Big takeaways from this one, Jay. Tampa Bay trying to pull it together, man. They're back at 5-5. I think we all think that they're going to win the NFC South. None of us are going to pick the Saints. None of us are going to. The Saints still, we'll get to them in a second. Continuing to roll out Andy Dalton, which is egregious, but not going to be Carolina, and it's not going to be the Atlanta Falcons. This is Tampa Bay's division to lose. I don't know how dangerous they are in the playoffs, but anytime you got the go at quarterback, you got a shot, right?
Yeah, I think Ray, where I sort of disagree with you is I think they are dangerous. I think they do have something to build off of here. And that was the biggest problem was as soon as you thought they could get going, they kind of got in their own way and lost a game. And the thing for me is that it's not like the playoffs start in a few weeks. They still got, 6 or 7 weeks to really figure this out, tune that offense a little bit, get some guys back healthy, acclimated, and really get this defense back to where it needs to be. As you mentioned, Kenneth Walker, they shut him down completely. He's been one of the best running backs in the league over the past month or so. Now they forced the Seahawks to be one-dimensional, and they couldn't really do a lot. Now, don't get me wrong, the Bucs almost gagged this game away at the end.
They did.
They allowed 13 points in the fourth quarter, but before that, they shut him out in the first half and only 3 points in the third quarter. If it wasn't for the fourth, it would have been very, very close. So again, I think that the Bucs are in a good spot right now. And if, like you mentioned, playing in that division where they're going to have some easy games down the stretch, they could have an opportunity to be good. And that divisional win will mean a first round home game. So that is good for them as well going into the playoffs. But I think they can make some noise. We'll see, but they do have some time to get it right. I'm not going to say they're a stalwart in the division, but behind the Eagles and the Vikings, I think it's pretty close. And I think maybe down the stretch, you can make the case that they could beat the Vikings even on the road. I'm not there.
I saw a thing where if the playoffs started today, they'd be facing Dallas. And that's just not what I want to see at this point right now. Let's go to Pittsburgh, New Orleans really quickly. The Saints continue to throw out Andy Dalton. He's awful. He should not be the starting quarterback there. Alvin Kamara, not good either. 8 carries, 26 yards. Didn't get anything going through the air. Olave, nothing burger, got smashed on the sideline. The only thing positive was Juwan Johnson scored another touchdown. On the other side of the ball, Kenny Pickett was just running around for his life out there. Threw for almost 200 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Got sacked about 100 times in that one. But Kenny Pickett has got wheels. I think he ran a 4.6, 4.7 at the combine. He had 51 rushing yards, a rushing TD, looking like young Daniel Jones out there. And remember all that Jaylen Warren's going to take Najee Harris's job. Jaylen Warren, RB1. Now, he did catch 3 for 40. He did have 30 yards on the ground, but Najee still led the way. 99 yards for Najee Harris. Ripped off a long run, 36 yards. Najee looked a little slimmer today. I don't know if it was just my TV. He looked a little slimmer on Sunday, but Najee Harris still the obvious clear workhorse back in that offense, and I never doubted for a second. Like, what are they going to – really? You're going to give Jaylen Warren 20 touches? I highly doubt that's going to happen ever. So good for Najee Harris. I really have nothing else to talk about in this game, and I have very little to talk about from the Denver-Tennessee side. We already touched on Jerry Jeudy. Praying it's not an Achilles injury. Ryan Tannehill was back in, and it just – as bad as it looked much better than when Malik Willis was at quarterback. Much better. Tanny had 2 touchdowns. Nick Westbrook-Akine had a monster day. Nobody started him unless you have him in best ball, and that's why you play best ball. Derrick Henry didn't do anything on the ground. Denver just said, we're not going to let you do anything. Malik Willis came in there and fumbled. Treylon Burks, nothing. Robert Woods, nothing. Burger, nothing. From the Denver side of the ball, Cortland Sutton, 6 for 66, and nobody else did anything that we started. Greg Dulcich, nothing. Melvin Gordon dropping passes, nothing from him. Just a nothing burger all the way around. Russell Wilson with the QBR of 22.4. Just awful. Sacked 6 times, 286 yards, kind of saved his day. 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Just not good. And Jalen Virgil, not Virgin. Jalen Virgin. Damn it, you got me saying Virgin. Jalen Virgil caught the touchdown pass for Russell Wilson. Anything you want to say about these two awful teams?
It was a terrible game.
Tennessee, let me stop before Tennessee fans get mad. Ray, watch the game. Tennessee 6. They're 6-3, but you can't watch that offense and think this is good. Like that, it's not good. Yes, you're 6-3, but it ain't good at all.
Yeah,
at all.
Yeah, they won a game. They won a game at home versus the worst scoring offense in the NFL. Well, I mean, when you score 2 touchdowns, you'll do that because the Denver Broncos can't score at all. like you mentioned, Russell Wilson didn't look much better. He got the yardage because he had to throw. Like I talked about it, the Tennessee Titans have one of the best rush defenses in the league. But, Russell Wilson still couldn't get it done, couldn't get the ball to anybody outside of that touchdown to Jalen Virgil. Basically was ineffective overall. Kendall Hilton had a decent game. He got the ball to some backs, but, not much else to say there. Malik Willis, thank God he's not starting. Tennessee Titans have an actual shot now. And Tannehill looked fine. There's that broken play to Nick Westbrook-Akine, which, again, on the other side, a big touchdown. But we'll see. Treylon Burks got on the field. He looked okay at times. He needs to kind of develop in that offense. He needs more time, I think. And
I think
the offense as a whole isn't
fine.
great.
I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
It's just a low, it's just
Low
not
volume.
a good offense, man. There's no creativity. The route combinations aren't sophisticated. Say what you want about, we talked about how bad like Chicago's stuff is, but at least they're scheming some stuff to get people open. Tennessee, they're just like, we're just going to line up, and there's no offensive creativity. You know what's coming. It's going to be a heavy dose of Henry. They'll try to play action and run deep dig routes across the middle or bomb it deep. It's just no creativity with that offense. I don't know who the OC is in Tennessee, but listen, they're 6-3. I'm not going to call them fraudulent because they have a really good defense. And that's with they were missing Jeffrey Simmons. They were missing multiple defenders. And Russell Wilson still couldn't get it done, man. Like, he just looks bad. Somebody said Russ looks like Taylor Heineke just throwing up prayers every day. Maybe.
Kind of does.
Throws up a lot of prayers before game, in game, after game. Just where are you at with him and that? Like, do you even want Russell Wilson? Like, do you think? Here's the thing, Jay. They're stuck with him till 2025. Like, there's no out. So.
That's the only reason why I wouldn't move him is because they're stuck with him. And so you're going to have multiple opportunities for him to get right. And then I think that Russ pedigree of what he is could provide a better sell window for you than if you were to try and move him right now.
Oh, man. Did you see Matt Ryan run? I thought he was going to rip off like a 50, 60-yard touchdown run. Matt Ryan, and he thought so too, because when he was going to the sideline, he cut that shit up. He was like, I'm trying to get in the zone. Matty Ice ain't ran like that in probably years. But the Indianapolis Colts, Jeff Saturday got it done versus my Las Vegas Raiders. Matt Ryan, 21 for 28. Mike from 4D said it earlier. Run Jonathan Taylor and start Matt Ryan. Who would have thought? Difficult coaching decisions there. JT, remember, I think he was like RB8. Nobody wanted JT. Sell Jonathan Taylor. His career was over. 22 for 147. Let everybody know on that 66-yard touchdown run. And he looked good to me. Looked like the top running back in Dynasty to me. Jay, you taking Kenneth Walker over JT? You taking ETN over JT? You doing that?
I don't think I'm doing that.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm doing that.
No.
Some are bolder than I, and I understand that. But yeah, I would be taking Jonathan Taylor. I think Jeff Saturday did provide a spark that team needed. Obviously, bringing in Matt Ryan and actually starting him was very beneficial for the team. 21 for 28, 222 through the air, and a touchdown to Paris Campbell. They looked really good. They had balance again. But the thing is, Ray, people need to remember this. The Raiders have one of the worst defenses in the league.
I know.
This is not
it's awful. It's awful.
This is not they have a resurgence.
Yeah,
they're back. They're 4-5, but Matt Ryan looked good against one of the worst defenses in the league. And this is important because we would have started Michael Pittman and Paris Campbell if we knew Matt Ryan was starting. We didn't really know that Sam Ehlinger was expected to start. So I'm not saying they're back, but they're looking good and they have momentum. And I think that speech Jeff Saturday made at the press conference talking about how he's still a guy that wants to win, wants to help this team win, was important. And getting this big win on the road is great for the team going forward. I think they continue to build off it.
Ooh, Sean Payton getting that Raiders job. No, let him chill for the Dallas job. Let him chill for the Dallas job, bro. He's coming to Dallas. We're going to bring him back. Devontae Adams, 9 for 126. Literally nobody else to throw to. Mac Hollins, if you started him this week, sad trombone because he did absolutely nothing. Nobody did anything. Josh Jacobs had a bunch of touches, scored a touchdown. Good for Josh Jacobs, but this Raiders team is just bad. Derek Carr. How?
You see him crying at the press conference?
What happened? How did this? Is it McDaniels? Now I know I got that McDaniel right. McDaniels. Is it him? Is it Carr? What is going on? I mean, and then to be fair, they showed the draft picks that Gruden and Mike Mayock made, and like none of them are on the team. They just cut Abram. Cleveland Farrell's terrible. Like the only one that's worked out has been Max Crosby, I believe, during that time. What is going on with this? Is Carr cooked?
I don't know if he's cooked, but I don't know if you saw the spray chart for Derek Carr, and I believe that Carr only completed one pass of more than 10 yards, like more than 10 air yards, which is just obscene in today's NFL, especially when they were playing from behind, it seemed like, for a lot of this game. Now, they did get up late, but I mean, outside of that, it's just been a lot of short dump offs. He threw a ton of passes to Josh Jacobs that went absolutely nowhere. And a lot of it was because of pressure, but clearly the lack of creativity and the lack of playmakers in this offense has Carr struggling. Last year, he played well with Waller and with Hunter Renfrow, and even to some degree, some other players were making plays for them. Now they have Adams. They struggled to get him the ball for a few weeks. Now those guys are out. They get Adams the ball, but there's nobody else of consequence that can get open. So now they're screwed in a situation where if they can't run the ball or just score touchdowns with Devontae Adams, there's really nothing they can do. And it's easy to blame Derek Carr. I think it is on Josh McDaniels a little bit because he has to scheme these guys open and work with what he has. But at the end of the day, like, this team is just bad. Like, they're 2-7 right now. They're literally going to get the number 2 overall pick. There's no reason for them to try and win games at this point. They should be trying to get that top 1 or 2 pick. And I believe Derek Carr has an out in his contract, so they can even get rid of him if they want to.
It's insane that they're going to be picking that high. Man.
But
they're going to draft CJ Stroud and ruin him. They're going to ruin him.
We've watched them with 9. Well, it's interesting. Do you think they would take Stroud? Well, I guess they wouldn't have their choice, but do you think they would take Stroud over Young if they had the choice? I feel like McDaniels would want that Alabama quarterback.
Here's the thing. I think if he's there, I think Stroud will end up going 1 because he fits the mold of a more prototypical quarterback, the size. I think people will be concerned about Bryce Young. He's still my QB1. But watch the Raiders. The Raiders are is Al Davis still there? Mark Davis. Which Davis is it? Is it? You're on mute.
Mark Davis is the one who owns the team. Yeah, but Al Davis is dead. Like, he's Mark
Davis. Watch him take Will Levis. Watch him just.
What's crazy too is the Raiders beat the Texans, right? So they even have the tiebreak.
I bet you they take Will Levis. I just have a feeling they would do it and just be another colossal failure of a pick. They can't take Bryce Young because here's the rationale. Our O-line is not that good. We'll get him hurt. We need a bigger quarterback that can withstand these hits. Let's take Will Levis at number 2 overall. Woof. I feel it coming, man. I feel it coming, Jay. I feel it coming. All right, let's go to Arizona and L.A., the battle of the backup quarterbacks, John Wolford versus Colt McCoy. And cue up the Colt McCoy over Kyler Murray quotes that I saw floating around there. Get out of here. But Colt McCoy did his job. Like, this is what you want out of your backup quarterback, to be Colt McCoy, to be Cooper Rush, to go out there and do your job when the starter's not there. And you know what he did, Jay? You know what I appreciate about Colt McCoy, which is one of the more underrated things that happened this Sunday? He didn't look at anybody else. He said, DeAndre Hopkins and Rondale Moore. That's all I'm throwing to. Nuke had 14 targets. Rondale had 13, and both of them crushed it for fantasy. Nuke 10 for 98. Rondale 9 for 94. And there are a lot of people out there, Jay. Rondale can't keep this up once Hollywood gets back. Looks pretty good to me. Rondale looking pretty good to me, Jay. James Conner had 2 touchdowns. Akers, did you know Akers played? I saw him get on the field. You didn't know that. I saw him get on the field. And I thought it was 2 years ago. I was like, what? This has got to be a replay. This is not a current game. Akers was in there. Didn't do shit, but he was in the game, taking carries. Kyron Williams, all that talk about him being the guy, not a burger from him. And then there's really not a lot to talk about. We talked about Cooper Kupp, unfortunate injury, and I'm with you. If he's got a high ankle sprain, why even? This team is done. The Rams are done. They're 3-6. They're not winning the division. This is a bad team, a bad offensive line, no weapons anywhere. What happens with the Rams after this season? What,
dude?
Is McVay there? This is
their team is so depleted, man. Like, they have nothing.
Picks. They don't have picks. Nothing. They don't have talent. I think there's a world in which McVay just deuces after this year. Like,
I would. Why would you say that?
What do you do with Cooper? Like, if Cooper comes out for the rest of the season, now he's only 29 years old. He'll be 30 next season. He's not an old receiver at all. Is there any concern that without McVay and without the magic that was last year, Cooper Kupp is more what he was pre-Stafford, an 1,100-yard receiver opposed to the 1,800, 1,900-yard monster? And if that's the case, if that is one of the potential outcome ranges for Cooper Kupp with this debacle of a team, what are you doing with him in Dynasty? Are you out there acquiring Cooper Kupp? Are you selling him for first rounders? Like, what are you doing with him? Like, just think that this season is probably a lost year.
I mean, you have to just take it for what it is, right? He's second in the league in receptions. He's fifth in yards. He's tied fifth in touchdowns. Like, he's having a great year. It's not that he's having a bad one. It's just the offensive line is bad. Stafford is bad. And the situation is terrible for the Rams right now. You have to imagine they have to do something, right? Like, I don't know what their game plan would be, but they have a ton of assets. Like, you know, we say they have nothing, and that's somewhat true, but if they wanted to trade Jalen Ramsey, they could trade Jalen Ramsey. They could trade Cooper Kupp. They could, I mean, Aaron Donald would probably retire, so they couldn't trade him. But I mean, outside of that, they don't have a lot.
No trade. I don't know, man. That's a lot of money to just be like for another team. I mean, maybe
it would be,
but
they got to do something, right? Like,
so I'm asking you, what do they do? What do they are? They can't run it back with this squad. I think
they have to.
I'm just throwing it out there, man. I don't know if McVay's. If I'm McVay, why do I want to be there? That dude's younger than me, man. He can go broadcast for a couple of years and pick wherever he wants to go in a couple of years. He can just chill, let shit play out, go take over for Bill Belichick in New England. This is a rough team. They're in a bad boat, Jay. They're in a bad boat. Bad boat.
Yeah,
the Rams.
I don't know where they go because again, they sold out for the championship. They got it, but now they're last in the division. Last, like that's a fall from grace we never saw. They're 8th right now in terms of picks. At 3 and 6, there's a lot of teams at 3 and 7 too,
and they don't even have that pick. They don't even have that pick.
They don't have that pick, but they don't have a pick. I don't think for a few years.
Pick? The Lions
in the Stafford trade.
Yeah,
it's the Stafford trade. Like it's. I don't know what they do from here, man. They don't have anything. Like they just don't. They have a lot of a few highly paid stars and no draft picks. And that's they could be looking at a 5 to 6 year rebuild because they still have no picks. It just depends on how do they move these assets for potentially some draft capital who, like you mentioned, are very highly priced. Maybe they can eat some of that money for a few years because they do have a ton of it. But I don't know what the hell they're going to do. They just have so many holes and
Everyone's
so many issues.
Asking, Jay, what's he worth in Dynasty? What is he? I don't think. If I sent you 2 firsts for Cooper Kupp today, would you take it?
Oh, you have to. The question is, would you send your first for Cooper Kupp right now?
Probably not. I mean.
Probably not, right? You probably should, but you're probably not going to.
I don't know.
Right?
Mike said immediately.
He's talking about the 2. They're talking about the 2 first, though. They're talking about the 2 first. Two first. Yeah, you're smashed.
Yeah, you're doing that. What about
the 1 first? Is where
he has
to be valued.
A first and 2 seconds. A first and a second. A first, second, and third. A first and 2 seconds. I mean, I'm just asking, and this isn't
maybe
like if you're contending and you lost Cooper Kupp. We're doing a lot of guessing here because we're talking about McVay leaving. We're talking about like none of us know any of that. That's just pure speculation. But this is I don't know, man. I have no idea. I sold Cooper Kupp going into the season and I was fine with it. We'll see how that plays out. Let's hit on this final game real quick, Jay. The Jimmy Garoppolo-led 49ers, man, on the back of Elijah Mitchell back in the building. An old GQ staple. Eli Mitchell with 18 for 89. Out-toting CMC, who was just plodding his way to 2.7 a carry. But the Niners got it done versus and they're depleted, man. The Chargers, no Mike Williams, no Keenan Allen. We get it. They are depleted. They have no running game of consequence. The entire offense is throw to Austin Eckler short, take shots to Josh Palmer down the field. DeAndre Carter did have a big game. Gerald Everett, you talked about him being hurt. But Herbert, man, QBR of 37.1, 21 for 35. Everybody will highlight the great throw to DeAndre Carter, but he wasn't good this game. 196, averaging 5.6 yards an attempt, 1 interception. I mean, just... It's rough because you look at it and you're like, man, they have nobody. Like they have no ground game. They have no receivers that can just go get it, right? Palmer's fine. I'm not here to shit on Josh Palmer. He's fine. But in terms of like real NFL, does he strike fear in any defense like a Stephon Diggs, like a Justin Jefferson? Absolutely not. Like they need a dude, man. They need Keenan. They need Mike.
Well, they got dudes, right? But they're not healthy. Did you know that the Chargers are paying the most money to wide receivers in all of the NFL? And,
No.
where are they? They're on the sidelines, right? You want to know who's number 2, actually?
Who?
The New England Patriots. So say what you want about that situation. So here's my thing, Ray, with the Chargers. And we talked about Brandon Staley. I actually think he had a pretty decent game calling it. And what they did on defense, they played pretty well. But the biggest thing here is once they got off the script in that opening series, which they looked phenomenal early in that game. Herbert was making all their throws. All the checks were great. They were making really good decisions. Offense was humming. After that, it was just they couldn't quite get going. Second half adjustments by the 49ers were phenomenal. I believe it's second game in a row or third game in a row they've shut out their opponent in the second half. That was the biggest takeaway. First half, they scored their 16 points. Second half, nothing. Massive adjustments by DeMeco Ryans and that San Francisco 49ers front. They had been reeling a bit on defense. Yeah. Head coaching candidate. Front runner for a lot of jobs.
Nick Bosa is also
good.
Nick Bosa is very good. I know, like, you look at the stats, he had a sack, he had 4 tackles, 3 for a loss. But when you just talk about constant pressure, like, he just had the right tackle in the backfield all night long. This defense is the real deal. And I know Frisco's sitting there at 5-4, but they're a top 10 team in the NFL. And there was a drive that Jimmy G had, man, where he drove him down the field. They ended up punching in the end zone. But that's why Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be a starting quarterback somewhere next year. Like, somewhere. You look at whether that's Atlanta could use him. Carolina is a bridge. I don't know. But he's going to get a starting job somewhere. Jimmy Garoppolo, man. He just hangs in there, man. 57.
Should have had a touchdown, right? Should have had a touchdown.
Should have.
But 10-2 when he doesn't throw one. Shout out Jimmy Garoppolo.
Brandon Ayuk looked good in that one as well. And then George Kittle on a milk carton did nothing again. George Kittle just blocking. All they did was run the ball down their throats, like, constantly. Yep. But I did not know the Chargers were paying the most money to wide receivers in the NFL. That's an interesting one. All right. Tonight, we've got the Jalen Hurts-led Philadelphia Eagles versus Taylor Heineke, Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin, and the Ron Rivera-led Washington Commanders. Where are we at with this game tonight, Jay? Philly going to stomp a mud hole in them, put foot in ass?
I think that the Commanders can cover this one.
What's the
It's
spread?
11 points.
7 points?
11 points. 11 points. 11 points.
11 points.
11 points. It's a wide spread. I mean, Philly should win, right? And they're at home. But the thing with Philly, those second halves for them are a little dicey. Mike, what is with Mike? He keeps talking about Christian Watson in the chat.
Mike, we talked about the Vikings. We talked about the Packers early, man. We talked about them, man. We ain't talking about them anymore. I'm still scarred. Good. I said good win. Christian Watson got loose deep. Aaron Jones balled out. A.J. Dillon balled out. We're not talking about it anymore. I'm still scarred. I don't want to talk about Green Bay. Go ahead, Jay.
But yeah, I think Jalen Hurts will, again, make his case for MVP this game. But outside of that, I mean, it's just going to be a divisional game. Probably be a little bit closer than we hope it to be. I think the Commanders can cover, but it's a home game for Philly. They'll be balling. Monday Night Football should be exciting. I love to see the Eagles play, man. They're awesome.
Yeah. I think they should cover. 11 is a large spread. But Jalen Hurts, an opportunity to improve on his MVP candidacy tonight. A.J. Brown should be in for a big night. Dallas Goedert, Washington linebackers versus Dallas Goedert. He should smash tonight. Miles Sanders should have room to run. We'll see. It's going to be a lot of plotting, B-Rob. We're probably going to see a lot of Brian Robinson plot his way with 15 carries for 42 yards. Probably falls into the end zone. And I guess the big thing to watch, I saw Jahan Dotson was practicing, so maybe we'll see some Jahan Dotson tonight. Maybe we see a little Antonio Gibson tonight. We'll see how all that plays out. But other than that, Jay, I thought it was a good weekend of football, man. I appreciated the games this weekend. Okay, buddy, have a good day. Okay, little man's right here telling me, I love you too, man. Little man telling me have a good day. Jay, real quickly before we get out of here, let me get your Heisman prediction. Who's winning the Heisman Trophy? Let's get to college. Give me your Heisman prediction real quick before we get out of here. Drake May?
So hard.
Could Drake May win it? 9-1. They may win the ACC.
They got to win the ACC.
His numbers are better than CJ Stroud. His numbers are better than everybody. Why not Drake May? I'm just asking. I want to get people excited. My goal is to get y'all excited for 2024 because, yes, I know y'all have already seen everybody on Twitter. Next year's class is better. It's better than this year. It's already started. 2023, fade those picks. Nobody wants 23 picks. But 24 is pretty freaking good, man. There's some good quarterbacks there. Drake May, Hendon Hooker, and CJ Stroud are probably leading the way, right?
I mean, you spun. So I think that it will be Stroud, though. And the only reason why I say that is because as much as I like Drake May, it's not his year to win the Heisman, right? Stroud could have won it last year, didn't win it. Stroud, if he goes undefeated, and the bigger thing, right, is he has that statement game versus Michigan. If he balls out against Michigan, I think he's going to win the Heisman.
You said CJ?
Yeah, if CJ balls out versus Michigan, I think he's going to win the Heisman. And that to me is the bigger thing. I think that North Carolina could beat Clemson. We'll see if they beat them in that ACC championship game, but I think that if they can beat Michigan and they beat them, maybe they beat them down a little bit. Maybe they get JSN back. I think there could be a real world where CJ has that Heisman moment right there.
So I'm looking at it right now. CJ on FanDuel plus 150, Hooker plus 400, Corum and Drake May tied at plus 500, and then after that it's Caleb at plus 1200. Caleb's not going to win it. Bennett here at 1400. I think your 4 Heisman finalists are probably Stroud, Hooker, Corum, and Drake May. But man, get those 24 picks now. Get them. Get you some Drake May. Get you some Caleb. Get you some Marvin Harrison Jr.
My God.
How good is he? How good is
wide receiver 1? Lock it in. I'm saying it now.
He reminds me of Larry Fitzgerald, man. I put that out there on Twitter. He reminds me of a young Larry Fitzgerald. Marvin Harrison Jr. is that dude. All right, man. Appreciate everybody being here on this fine Monday. I hope y'all have a great start to your week. Enjoy the day. Go make it great. Jay, anything you want to say to people before we get out of here?
Nah, man. Just have a good day. That's it. We're good. Monday. Am I doing the outro today?
No. I was just giving you some solo time.
I would say, though, I would go listen to Scott's pod today. So Scott dropped a pod about the tight end landscape in Dynasty, talking about the tight end threshold and how you should operate with your tight ends in Dynasty. I would go check that out. It's on the Destination Devy radio feed. So go check that podcast out. I listened to it last night. Scott did a great job. He's been doing a great job with his roster construction series. So I would go check out those pods. He's been dropping those once a week. And I believe he only has one more left. He's been going through quarterbacks, and I think wide receivers are next.
Yep.
But he did a great job on the tight ends. Great job on the tight ends. It was awesome.
Yeah, everybody, man, please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, like the content. I appreciate every single one of y'all that wake up, engage with us. We try to make this an interactive show where we engage with y'all, so appreciate the comments. Y'all have a good day. Enjoy Monday Night Football, and let's get after it again on Wednesday. I don't know what we have on tap for Wednesday. Maybe we'll do a little more college stuff, look at some trades, look at some ADP, talk about some movement. Maybe we'll do something like that. A lot of people enjoyed that show, but I appreciate y'all being here. Y'all make today great. We out of this thing. Peace. Thank y'all for watching the Wake Up Show with myself and Jay Rich. If you finished the show and you're still hanging around and have yet to hit the thumbs up button or subscribe to the channel, do that right now and turn them alerts on while you're at it. If you want more exclusive access to me, Jay Rich, the entire Destination Devy team, patreon.com/allgas gives you that access. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter for free 99 content. And if you want to get in on that action, use the promo code WAKEUP over on PrizePicks for a 100% deposit match up to $100 for first-time users, and a brand new show dropping on the Mojo YouTube channel. Myself and Jay Rich will be talking about these players and their value from a stock market perspective every single week this fall over on Mojo. It's all gas all the time. Love y'all. I'm out of this thing. Peace.